What an absolute clown show of a series that we had this week against the Mariners. Coming in, we honestly had a couple of wins in this series within our grasp. Should have been a sweep looking back on it and seeing how these games ended in one-run affairs. But we were on the losing side of two of these games. So I hope you guys are ready because I'm going to go on a bit of a rant for the next couple of minutes here. Good Lord, dude. Where do I even begin? Well, we'll start with the one positive in this series. We'll jump straight to game 2, which was the only win we had in this series. That, to be honest, again, looking back, we had no business winning this game. Just given how pathetic our offense was. The starting pitching, I'm going to mention right off the rip here, was just outstanding. All three of our pitchers pitched quality starts, all pitching at least 6 innings. This is the definition of a bona fide starting rotation. With Hayden Wesensky, who pitched in Game 1, he went 6 innings. Framber Valdez, Game 2 of the series, went 6. And then Hunter Brown, in today's game, I believe went 7 innings. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could be missing those, mixing some of those numbers up. And to put the icing on the cake of how pathetic this series was, during Game 2 of this series, specifically during Mariners batting practice, prior to the start of the game, Spencer Arrighetti was playing catch out in the outfield, and he got hit on his pitching thumb with a line drive. And unfortunately, much to our disappointment, an MRI had revealed that he did in fact have a broken thumb, which means that is such an Astro injury. There is no other player across the league, be it a pitcher or a hitter, that would sustain this kind of an injury from such circumstances. It's terrible. But, I mean, looking at it on the bright side, he was not going to be requiring surgery on it, although he's looking at probably at least 4 to 6 weeks of recovery time. 2 weeks at least before he can, get out of, pull his thumb out of the cast that he's in. And then maybe another 4 weeks after that before he can start exercises, much less throw a baseball. So like I said, Spencer Arrighetti is probably going to be looking at least at a 4-month recovery time. But now, dude, let's go into the series. Like I said, where do I even start? But we'll go ahead and start with the positives, I guess. We'll start with the one win we had in this series. Cam Smith had his chance to break out in the top of the 4th inning in this game, coming up with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Unfortunately, he could not come through. But his next chance, he did after Diaz had made it to second base on a throwing error in the top of the 7th inning to lead off. Cam Smith had turned on a sweeper and sent it all the way into the left field corner, putting Diaz as he trotted home. He turned on the jet, sliding into third base just ahead of the tag for his first extra base hit of his career, and also the first Astros triple of the year. But that 1-0 lead would not last very long, as Taylor Scott, for the second straight night, would blow away that 1-0 lead, which was honestly bound to happen. You kind of knew that the Mariners, as pesky as they are, would obviously answer with that. And sure enough, for the second straight night, they did. And I didn't even mention in this video how Taylor Scott had actually blown another lead for us the night before. On the same night that the Houston Cougars blew a 12-point lead to Florida in the national championship game and lost that, the Astros had found a way to choke a game of their own in a very similar way, with us being up 3-2 in the bottom of the 8th inning. Taylor Scott had allowed the tying and go-ahead runs to score, and the Mariners would eventually win by the final score of 4-3. I mean, there's really not much to be said over the course of that game, considering that our offense, like I said, was absolutely pathetic over the course of the series. The one thing that was good was the starting rotation. Our starting rotation has obviously been super good the past few years. This point in the season, to be honest, it was not the best. But let's go ahead and get into the final game of this series. I don't even know where to start, dude. What should have been a comfortable getaway day stroll just ended up turning into what was a classic Houston choke job. Yeah, like I said, I'm at a loss for words. So, but going into the nitty-gritties here, Luis Contreras, who unfortunately had to get called up with Spencer Arrighetti going on the injured list. And also, I forgot to mention that the Astros had made a trade sending Rafael Montero to the Atlanta Braves for cash considerations, and then also a player that has yet to be named as of this point. I can't really tell you guys who it is because I don't know. But like I said, Luis Contreras, who had gotten us out of a jam in the bottom of the 7th inning, got us back into one, loading the bases before being pulled in favor of Stephen O'Kurt, who is pitching the day after he had earned his first save of the season last night. He ended up getting 2 quick outs rather easily, but Randy Arozarena ended up cranking a grand slam to get them back into the game with 1 swing of the bat. The Astros did bring in an insurance run in the top of the 9th, with Jeremy Pena getting a leadoff double, advancing to third on what was a not so traditional stolen base. I mean, he ended up getting caught in a pickle, but the throw over to third base was a little bit late, so he was credited with the stolen base, but not really a traditional stolen base. But that insurance run would not matter, because Brian Abreu having to come in and get the save would just absolutely blow it. The strike zone during this inning would also not help matters either. I mean, these 4 guys as a combined unit combined to allow just 5 hits and 6 walks, while only recording 8 outs, which was a day after the Astros bullpen had walked a tightrope, throwing 6 scoreless innings. I mean, the only, aside from Taylor Scott, of course. Maybe admittedly today just wasn't their day. Maybe they were just exhausted considering how last night's game was. But I mean, there's really no excuse for that. And I mean, obviously, some of these guys may be inexperienced. Like, I mean, a lot with Ryan Presley gone, we're having to rely on a lot of inexperienced arms at this point in the season, and we'll have to as it progresses. But inexperienced my ass, dude. There are teams who have so many guys, young guys on their roster who are able to pitch us out of these kinds of situations. It just kind of mind boggles me as to how this game ended up going out. And I mean, I'm still a little bit and like I said, I'm still just I can't even say complete sentences. It's lucky you guys don't even see this because I'm editing this stuff out. But I mean, I'm at a loss for words as to how this series ended. Very well could have been a sweep. I mean, Monday night's game, I mean, okay, maybe blew a game late. Let's just try to respond the rest of the series. And we did. But with the way that this game had ended is just what puts the icing on the cake as to how horrible this series was. And it's not getting any easier at this point because now we're preparing to host the Angels after a brief off day on Friday night back at Daikin Park. And the Angels, this might shock a lot of people, are actually leading the division. I don't know what they're doing so good at. Yeah, that's going to do it, guys. If you guys liked it, just drop a like. And if you want to watch anything else, then click these cards here above my shoulders. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one.